So in the previous session, we have started learning about how you can create a request body, and we'll also see how you can pass the parameters in the request URL. Right. So as a part of that, we have seen how you can use a dictionary. Right. So to specify the request body, and you can send that request body inside this dictionary with a request URL. Right. If you see in the day two, we have just done this. Right. We have created a dictionary. Then this dictionary is converted to JSON, strictly a JSON string by using JSON parameter. JSON parameter will do automatic conversion of this dictionary to a JSON string. If you are doing manual conversion, you need to pass that with data parameter. So JSON automatic conversion, so data parameter, which is a manual conversion. If you are converting manually, you need to set the headers. Meme type is application slash JSON. You need to set that. That means whatever the data which you are sending as a part of this request, the data is a JSON request. Right? Suppose if you are using this JSON parameter, this request header is automatically set to application slash JSON. You need to no need to explicitly specify that request headers. Right? So JSON parameter automatic conversion. Automatic conversion of dictionary to JSON string, right? So if it is automatically converted to JSON string, headers set to application slash JSON, right? So this is what with JSON parameter. There is another parameter like which is data. So data parameter, if you are using when you are converting a dictionary object to JSON string, right, manually. So manual conversion of dictionary to JSON string, dictionary to JSON string, right? So then you need to set manually this application slash JSON. Why you are doing this? Why you need to convert to JSON string? This dictionary looking like a JSON string, you can just pass that to the server directly. Is it right? So you have an API, right? It will give the response once you send a request, right? But this API strictly accepts only JSON string. No more form of data it will accept. So that is the reason along with the request, whatever the data in which form you have, it can be dictionary, it can be in another format. So you are converting that to string. That conversion you can do automatically by using JSON parameter. If you are converting manually, you need to use this data parameter. So if you are converting manually, so how you can do that? By using JSON library, json.dumps, json.dumps. So what it will do, it will try to convert this dictionary object to JSON string. It will convert dictionary object to JSON string. So that what we have seen. JSON and data with the data parameter json.dumps of request body. Right? I'm converting this dictionary, which is a dictionary, but you can think of like it is a JSON string. Internally, it is a dictionary. We'll also see that in day 3, and post that we'll try to create so request body with other forms. Right. So still there are few more forms. Right. So JSON module we'll see. You can create a Python custom class, which is like a Pojo class, plain old Java object in Java. Right. You can use data class, or you can specify the data which you need to send with request. So in an external file also, from an external file, you can read the data. Right, we'll see this another ways. So what I will do, first I'll create a day 3. So inside day 3, I'll try to create um, a simple Python file, guys, comparison. Okay, comparison. Right, some simple Python uh, module I'm creating. So let me take this request body. So I'm using this request body. So let me make you understand what data type this request body is, because this is what the data I'm sending with request. and there is conversion happening. Before converting that, let us see what data type this request body belongs to, right? So to determine data type of a variable, what function you will use? A built-in function, type function, right? So print of, I'll use print, so type of a request body. So I'll pass this request body as a parameter to this type function. So it will return me what data type this request body variable belongs to. I'm thinking that it is a JSON string, but it is a dictionary, right? Observe here. Observe here. It is a class dictionary, right? It is class dictionary. So this dictionary needs to be converted to JSON string because this API is designed in such a way it will only understand JSON data, not another data. But you are having dictionary here. It is of class dictionary. So what you can do, you can convert this dictionary, which is a Python object, to JSON string, right? So how you can convert? By using JSON dot dumps. So you need to import JSON library, right? So import JSON, which is a built-in library. So you need to import that if you want to use JSON dot dumps, right? For converting this dictionary manually to JSON string. So you can try to apply that. So JSON dot dumps, right? JSON dot dumps of a request body. Now what it will do? It will try to convert it to JSON string, right? Observe here, run comparison. So it is of class string, right? This conversion is required. So if you are not able to convert, then it is a problem, right? Specifying the data in multiple forms and converting that data to JSON string. These are the two important things which you need to understand. So this is how you are using JSON data terms and converting that. The same we have seen here. Automatic conversion by using JSON parameter. Data parameter, you are converting manually this dictionary to JSON string. If you are converting manually, server needs to understand. So that's where you are setting this request headers, which is content type application slash JSON, right? So I'll be taking the same code. I'll create another module here in day 3, test underscore post to request body examples 2. This is second module. So in day 3, I'll use the same code. All right. So this JSON automatic conversion, data manual conversion. First, I'll comment this. I'll try to execute this. All right. So you can see it here. Response.status code. You can just capture that response once you send a request. I'm using this JSON automatic conversion, right? So let us see. I'll try to change this name also. Right, before changing these all these things, what I'll do, I'll try to use the student.json. I'll try to run an API, right? JSON API, right? So I'm pasting it here, copy and pasting. I'll open this folder in terminal. Right click on the directory, open in terminal. Right, so you need to run this students.json file so that you can create this students API. Right, so you can see JSON hyphen server. This is what a command, hyphen hyphen watch students.json, students.json. Yes, so it is giving me this endpoint. Click on that endpoint, so you can see the response. Right, in the previous session we have created Scott here and location France. Now what I will do, since we are discussing another ways, I'll try to change this name Scott to let's suppose Judge. Okay, she is from USA. Right, I'm trying to change this. I'll also do the assertions. I use this data, the same data I'll be able to see in the response. In the response, I'm capturing name and location. So you need to change the name to Scott and France to USA, right? So Judge, Scott to Judge, right? France to USA, France to USA. Other all remaining same here. So I'll try to send a request. This is one way by using this JSON automatic conversion, right? You can execute from the terminal. You can execute from the IDE also, right? I'll try to execute from the IDE, right? So you can see it is just passing, right? It is sending the request, getting the data, right? Doing some assertions, right? So what is the status code, whether it is equal to 201 or not? If it is not, so just raise this assertion error. At the time of raising that error, just prints this message, right? You are capturing entire JSON response in some variable, right? So JSON is having a name key. You are extracting that. So Georgia, if it is equal, then assertion this will pass. Otherwise, it will print this assertion message in the console. Similarly, location you are capturing, phone you are capturing, courses of one which is C, right? So this is like an array. Courses is like an array which is like a list in Python. So how you can get each and every item from a list by using that index number. So a JSON response is having this array, courses array. From that courses array, you are extracting a single item, single object, single programming language it is, right? So if it is not equal, right? If it is not met, course one should be C. This is what an assertion message, right? Student ID I'm capturing. Why? So once you create a student, if you want to delete that student, so you need that student ID. So that student ID I'm also extracting from this response only, right? So when I refresh this, we can see George has been created. She's from USA, and this is what the details, and it is also generating this ID. This ID is required to delete that user which I have created, right? So if you want, you can delete. If you don't want, you can remove that fixture also, which we are going to discuss, right? Delete a fixture, and this ID is required, right? So that ID I'm capturing inside this variable. Good. Very important thing it is, I have defined this student ID. I have defined this student ID as a global variable. If you try to define this student ID, the same name inside a test function, that will be treated as an local variable. So since it is a global parameter, if there are multiple test functions which I need that in multiple test functions, so if you are using any variable inside a function that is a local variable, to convert that or to make that local variable to a global variable, you need to use this global and the variable name. This is what is syntax. Global is a keyword which is a reserved word for making any variable as a global variable from the function. Any variable which you create outside of a function, that is a global variable. The other way is you can create a global variable by using global keyword inside a function. So any variable which you create inside a function is a local variable. If you want to make that as a global variable, just follow this syntax: global keyword followed by variable name, and set the value to that variable. Then this will be available to all the functions in this module .py module, right? This is uh, automatic conversion. Now we'll try to see with this JSON library. So manual conversion it is. So I'll try to change this. Instead of dictionary, I'll use JSON library. Create student using JSON library, right? So you need to convert that. So by using JSON.dumps, this will convert this dictionary to JSON string. At the time of converting, you need to set the headers. You yourself, it's your responsibility to set the headers. If you are using JSON parameters, server will automatically understand that you are sending application/JSON header. But if you are converting manually, you need to set the headers. So headers equal to request headers, which I defined that in some variable, right? Request headers, which is a global variable. So I can access inside this function, right? So the same student name, if it is, you can keep, or let me keep another name which is Dilip. Dilip is from USA, California, let's suppose, right? So I'll try to change this data. I'll try to execute this one more time, right? Upon updating these assertions, California, instead of USA, specify California. That's it. So let me send the request. So yes, it is also passed. Now you can go to this browser, refresh this. So Dilip, California, and 123456. And courses you are trying to do the assertions with remaining data. And this ID you are capturing in this student ID variable. That what I will use to delete that student. So once it is created, why? If I go on creating like this, it is creating entire entries which I'm not going to use anywhere. To make you understand how you can pass the data, I'm using this. So what I'll do, I'll try to delete this user or student once I create. So automatically I want it to be deleted. So for that, we have seen one simple concept, right? So which is PyTest fixtures, right? PyTest fixtures, right? So suppose there is a test function. You think of like a test case. Before executing test case, if you have some prerequisites, you will specify as a part of setup. Those will be called as a setup. After executing this test function, if you want to execute something, those are tear down steps, right? So how you can specify setup and tear down, right? So you need to create a function. How you can create a function by using def keyword. You can specify any name of the function. So inside that function, specify setup step or setup steps it is. After that, yield. Next, specify tear down, right? So before yield, that is a setup. What are the statements which you specify? What are the code which you write? That is what an setup. After yield, whatever it is there, that is treated as an tear down step, right? So how you can specify this? Once you create a fixture function, then this will be executed before and after execution. Setup before execution of this test function. Tear down after execution of this test function, right? So you need to create a fixture function and you need to pass that fixture function as an input to this test function, because by default this fixture function will be having a function scope, right? So once I create a student, I'll try to delete that student immediately because I no need that student. So what I'll do, I'll try to create a fixture function. I'll only specify the tear down steps. Once this function is executed, so I'll try to delete the student, right? So here I'll try to create a function, delete, define, delete student. This is what a function. This is not a test. So this function, which is like a fixture function, so you need to call this uh, decorator at the rate pytest dot fixture. Pytest dot fixture. So I'll be creating a simple fixture function. So what I'll do, I'll try to delete this student which I created. For deleting, I need this ID. Is it right? That what I captured inside this variable. So that code, I'll try to represent it here. So I'll try to send a request first. So request dot delete. To delete a student, you need to use this delete. And you want this base URL should be attached with this ID. Right? A base URL is what a variable, and the student ID you are capturing in a variable. So you need to use two variables. So here I'll use base URL, which is a global variable. This base URL must be appended with student ID, right? Student ID. These are variables. You need to pass the values inside the variables as a string. So you can keep that inside quotes. But at the time of keeping inside quotes, if you are using any variables, if you want to access the variable values, you have to keep them inside curly braces. This is string formatting. String formatting. In the strings session of Python, I have discussed this very clearly. So you need to go for F strings. Now this will return me total request URL, base URL up to here, and the student ID which I captured and stored it inside this global variable. Good. So at the time of sending this request, I no need any parameters. I no need any request headers. Just you can send that as it is. I no need any request body also, right? So once I send, I'll get a response. I'll store that response inside some variable and I'll do some simple assertion. Once you delete any student, it will give you 200 as a status code. That assertion I'll try to do. So assert response dot status code equal to 200. If this condition is not met, if this validation point is not true, right? So wrong status code. Status code, some simple message I'm printing it here. Also, I'll try to print this response, what it is giving to me, right? So response dot JSON. I'll print a JSON response, right? So at last, I'll also print one simple message. What is that? Student deleted. Student deleted, right? So this is what a fixture function. When this fixture function is executed, when you can pass this fixture function as an input to this test function. Suppose you don't want to refer this as an input to each and every test function. You want to use this automatically. These are tear down steps, guys. So where I need to use these tear down steps after yield keyword. So yield. Before yield, setup. After yield, tear down. Right? I want to execute this fixture function immediately once this test is executed. So what you need to do, you need to pass this fixture function as an input to this test function, or if it is a method inside a class. If you want to use that automatically, you can go for auto use fixtures. So auto use equal to true. If you set this parameter to true, it will be executed automatically without referring this delete student in the function or the test which you want to be executed. So what I will do, I'll try to execute this one more time. Once I execute this, student will be created, but that student immediately will be deleted because we have defined this fixture function. So you won't be able to see the response here once I delete that student, right? So immediately it will be deleted. So instead of creating unnecessary students, I'm just going for this approach. Create a student immediately, try to delete that student. If you don't want, so you can just try to comment this and you can execute. Right? This is one way with JSON library. So let us try to change the data one more time. So I'll try to change the data. So instead of name Dilip, I'll go for Sri Lekha. Okay, Sri Lekha. She is from Canada, right? I'll keep this phone number and courses as it is. If you want, we can also modify. So here also try to change the values for assertions. Name, it is Sri Lekha, and she is from Canada. Location is Canada here. Instead of California, specify Canada. That's it. So I'll execute this. You can execute from the IDE. You can execute it from the terminal also. So go to terminal. Let us see that. So don't close this students API. So keep that running as long as you are working with that. So I'm going to terminal. I'll try to execute the command. So what is the command? PyTest -s-v. If you are using any markers, you can go for -m flag also, but don't bother about that. In day 3, you have this post request body examples too. So I need to switch to day 3, right? So how you can switch cd day 3. So it is switched to day 3, or directly from the parent directory, get the location of this module and you can execute that. But in your case, you can shift, you can change to that directory, right? You can also do execution multiple ways. So execute this command pytest -s-v, right? So already you are in day 3. In the day 3 only, I have this module. So directly specify that module name. Post request body examples 2 dot py. Post request body examples 2 dot py. Click on enter. Now you can see one passed, right? So it is creating that student, doing some assertions, this test, and printing that response. You can see this is what a response. It is passed. And you are deleting that student also immediately, right? So upon deleting, it will give me this response. Delete student. This is what a response. And also it is printing this student deleted. And in the browser, when you refresh this, you won't be able to see the data which you created just now because you are immediately deleting by using this fixture function. right? So 4496, this is what in student ID. Are you able to see the student ID here? 4496. No, that is created immediately, it is deleted by using this fixture function, right? So from IDE you can execute, from the terminal also you can execute. Let us execute from the IDE. So I'm executing it from the IDE. So yes, it is also passed, it is also created a student, it is deleted immediately, student deleted, right? 3B69, right? So name Sri Lanka. So this is what a response data, response body after deleting a request. So student deleted, right? You can execute a test function multiple ways. So here I am using this JSON library. So JSON dot dumps. If you want manual conversion, if you want to convert this dictionary, so automatically you can go for JSON parameter, right? So I'll use this from now onwards. If you want automatic conversion wherever it is required, you can also use that, right? So let us try to see another function, so which you can create by using another way, so which is Python custom class. Is it right? Dictionary is one way of creating a request body, right? Using JSON library, just now we have seen. We'll use Python custom class, which is like a Pojo in Java, and you can use data class, and you can specify the data in an external file. So you need to get the data, so during runtime from the external file, then you need to convert that to JSON string, right? So we'll see other three ways of creating a request body. So I'll create a Python custom class. So to specify the request body, to create a request body. So I'll try to create the same function, but I'll try to modify. How I'll modify? Observe here, guys. You need to understand how we can do that. Python custom class. Python custom class. I'll create a class inside this function, right? Inside a class, you can create a method. Inside a function, you can create a class. That is also possible. All right. So what I'll be doing, I'll try to create a student class, right? Observe here, guys. Observe here, right? So I'll create a class, custom class it is. Class student, class student. So inside this class, I'll create a constructor. So define underscore underscore init. Why this constructor is required? This constructor is required to create instance variables. What are the instance variables? If the variable value is changing from instance to instance, those are called as instance variables. Class variables you have, instance variables you have, local variables you have, global variables you have. So multiple types of variables. If you have the understanding of Python, you can understand this. So class student, students consist of a constructor. I'll use the variables which I will pass when I create an object of this student class. So name, this is what one parameter, right? So in the request body, you have location, this is another parameter. You have phone, this is another parameter. You have courses, this is another parameter, right? So I'm defining these parameters. When I create an object, I'll pass the value to these parameters. When you create an object, this constructor will be invoked automatically, right? By that concept, by using that concept, I'll try to create this custom class. So when you refer name here, whatever the value which you pass to this name parameter, I'll use that, and I'll try to store it in some variable which is an instance variable. I'll create an instance variable. So how you can create? Self dot name, I'll give the name which is an instance variable, same name like a parameter name, right? Same name like a parameter name. Like for location, phone and courses also, I'll try to create instance variables. Inside a constructor, you can create instance variable by using self. Thumb rule it is. Multiple ways of creating instance variables, class variables, right? So I'm using one of the way. Similarly, for location also, I'll try to, for phone also, for courses also, right? So location equal to location. So whatever the value which you pass to this location parameter, that will be using, and I'll create an instance variable, right? I'll use that instance variable in the request body, right? Similarly, phone also I'll use, I'll pass the value to this phone. Similarly, courses also, I'll try to pass it as an list courses, right? So this is what a student class. I'll create an object of this class. How you can create student is what a class name followed by open and close parenthesis. At the time of creating an object of a student class, or if you create an object of a class, if this class having any constructor will be invoked automatically, right? If it is invoked, it is accepting some inputs, some parameters. You need to pass the values. So what are the values you can pass? Let me take the name as one of my student name, Supriti, right? I'll take Supriti name, right? Supriti. So this will be set to name, comma, you need to pass in the same order. Location, she is from Japan. Okay, I'm using Japan. So I'll specify the phone number as so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, right? I'll try to pass these courses in the form of an array. Array here, it is nothing but a list. So I'll specify one is she's learning Python, and she will also learn Java, right? This is what a payload, right? Payload which I am passing it here, right? At the time of creating an object, you need to pass the values to these inputs because constructor is invoked. With those values, you are creating instance variables. So to this object, I'll refer some name. Refer some variable which is a student. You can give any another name, but here I'm trying to refer this object reference variable. So this variable is referring to this object. So this variable is called as an object reference variable, right? In a class, in a class, if you are having any readable attributes in the sense variables which you can write, which you can pass the values to those variables during runtime, those are called as readables, right? So those readables you can try to get in the form of a dictionary, right? I'll show you this. I'll come back here one more time. I'll start here from the basics again. So in the comparison only, I'll try to create a class. I created an object of that class. So this class is having, or the object of this class is having a special attribute which is dictionary, right? So student dot underscore underscore, this is a special method, guys, dictionary method. So when you call this method, which is looking like a constructor, but this is a special method, underscore underscore dict means a dictionary. It will return me all the readable objects, readable, WRITABLE, readable objects in the form of a dictionary, right? So observe here, I'm printing that. So print of student dot dictionary, right? So dictionary attribute I'm calling. So I'm executing this. Guys, observe here. It is returning me every object which you think of like an attribute here. Name is one attribute, location is another attribute, phone, courses. So it is returning me in the form of a dictionary, right? So this is one way you can create an class, custom class. It is any class you can create. You can specify the constructor, specify the variables which you want that needs to be used in request body, and use this special method which is underscore underscore dictionary. So it will return me entire data, entire variables in the form of a dictionary key and value pair. This is a dictionary. You can convert this dictionary manually, you can convert this dictionary automatically, right? So you can use JSON parameter, you can use data parameter. So that way I have used this, the same code here, right? So I'll try to use that. So if you can see this student dot dict, it will return me dictionary, and I'll try to store that dictionary in some variable which is request body, request underscore body, right? So request body. So this request body which is a dictionary, right? You can convert that dictionary to JSON string strictly by using this JSON parameter, or manual conversion is also possible, right? So you can do that. So you can change the name to Supriti in assertions. location to Japan in assertions, and phone is 6789, and first course is Python, second course is Java. You need to update these assertions also based on the data which you are passing, right? Java, right? You are capturing this response ID. Response body consists of student ID. That student ID you are passing to this delete student, so which is a fixture function that will be deleted once you create a student, that will be deleted. So instead of having unnecessary IDs filling the data in this JSON file, I'm trying to delete that. All right. So this is how you can create a custom class. Variables, those variables which you are going to refer inside request body. This request body is a dictionary which you are getting by using this special attribute dict underscore underscore dict underscore underscore. It will return me dictionary. That's what we have seen here. I'm converting that dictionary to JSON string in an automatic way by using JSON parameter. If you use JSON parameter, it will be converted to JSON string, and headers will be set to a content type application slash JSON automatically. But if you are converting manually, you need to specify the headers. Right, so thumb rule it is, right? So let me execute this with manual automatic conversion, then we'll see manual conversion, right? So let us execute this. So yes, it is also executed. You have passed this request body to this request base URL, and you can see. So it is creating a student with this data. So 1E, B2, this is what an ID dynamically created. Name is Supriti. She is from Japan. Phone number is this courses. And you are trying to delete that immediately once you create. Student deleted. That is also executed fixture function. And this is one way, right? Which is automatic conversion. You can also use this manual conversion, right? So data equal to JSON dot dumps, manual conversion. If you are converting manually, you need to set the request headers, right? So you need to set this request headers. That what at the time of sending this request, you are using another parameter headers. Headers equal to request headers, right? So very important information. JSON automatic conversion, data manual conversion. If you are converting manually, set the headers. If you are converting automatically, it will be automatically set the headers. All right, so this is how you can. So we have seen this Python custom class also. This Python custom class and data class both are same only, guys. But if you want to have some more things, right? See, you can go for data class if you want to store the data, mainly for storing data class. Python custom class is you can store the data, and if you want to build some more logics like inheritance, custom behavior, and if you want to have some complex logic, you can go for this Python custom class. If you want to store only the data, go for this data class. Data class and custom class both are same. Data class, you need to import and you need to specify the data. Only for storing the data, you can go for data class. There is no another requirement, right? If you want some complex logics which you are going to build with the data, go for Python custom class or go for this data class. All right, so let me show you how you can use this data class to create this request body. Right, I'll use the same code, same assertions, but I'll try to get the things done with data class. So this is Python custom class. This is data class, right? Data class. And you need to import this data class. So how you can import from data classes, right? So this is what a module you need to import data class function. So this data class function, which you can pass as a decorator above the class, right? So I'll create a class. So observe here, guys. So this is what a same class which I'll create. So instead of this constructor, so I'll try to use the parameters which I want, right? So observe here how I'll be specifying those parameters. Name is one parameter. So which I'm specifying, this is a string. You can ask me, hey Madan, Python is a dynamically typed programming language. But why you are specifying this data type here. See, during runtime, whatever the value which you pass to this variable, based on that value, the data type will be assigned to this variable automatically. But if you want to strictly enforce that only for this name, always you pass a string data, you can go and specify this data type also. This is what you are strictly enforcing, what type of data you need to store in the variable. By default, there is no restriction. You can store any data inside this variable. But if it is a critical operation, that critical operation, instead of using other data types, if it wants only the string data type or integer data type or float data type, so you can strictly enforce what data type value which you need to store. If you specify another data value inside storing this variable, then it can raise an error. Here, strictly enforcing the data. What data I need to store. So data type I am specifying. Similarly, for phone, you have phone is a variable which I need only string, and you can see which is a list here, courses. So which data type this courses must be? It is a list data type, right? So courses list data type it is. I'm strictly enforcing this, right? So which class it is? It must be a data class, then only I can go for this syntax. Otherwise, it is not possible. It is not a custom class. So it is a data class. So you need to call this decorator above that class at the rate data class, right? So at the rate data class, you need to specify that. So above that class, right? You don't need to specify this comma as well. You can just remove this comma. You are strictly enforcing the data type for these variables. And this is a data class, and that too, it is only for storing the data. Only for storing the data. That's it. So I'll take this, right? I'll try to take this data also. So I'll go to here comparison. I'll try to use that. I'll show you that. So I'll also import this from data classes, import data class, right? Import a data class. The same way you can create an object of the class. You can pass the value to these variables. These are class variables, guys. Previously, these are instance variables. These are class variables. Why? You have created these variables inside a class, and these variables are not there, not created inside any method of this class. Directly after the class I'm defining, these are class variables. You can specify the data. You can get the data in any number of ways. That is only the understanding here, right? Only for storing the data, I can go for data class. If it is a custom class, if you are going by proper syntax, then you can build a lot of things, complex logic, inheritance, abstractions, a lot of things you can try to build. But I'm not bothering about all these things. I only bother about storing the data. This is another way of creating this data, right? Data class. I'll comment this. I'll try to take this custom class. I'll comment like a custom class. You can create an object of this data class. You can pass the data to this variables, and those data, with those data you are getting that dictionary, so entire dictionary. So observe here, I'm executing this. So this is also giving me a dictionary. Is it really a dictionary? You can get the type also. How you can get the type? By using this type function. So type of this dictionary, student dot underscore underscore dict underscore underscore. This is a special attribute, special method it is. I'm executing this. So what data type it is? A dictionary. But your API accepts JSON string, not dictionary. So you need to convert this. Automatic conversion and manual conversion. All right. So what we will do, we have created a data class and we'll convert that automatically first. If you are converting automatically, content type header is automatically set to application/JSON. Right. I'll use the same data. Right. I'll create the student. Yes, it is passed, a student is created, and that student got deleted. So immediately, right? You will not be able to see this student with this ID. So 2260. Go to the browser, refresh this. You can see I don't have that student, right? It is immediately got deleted. Here you need to understand the multiple ways of creating a request body, right? See, I'll try to convert that manually also. So how you can convert by using this JSON dot dumps, right? So let us execute this one more time. So the student also got created and it is deleted, right? So creating in the sense definitely you are passing that data. How you are passing? By using multiple ways, right? So dictionary, JSON library, Python custom class, data class, multiple ways. And we'll also see an external file, guys. In an external file, I'll specify the data. I'll read that data during runtime. I'll pass that data in the request body, right? So for this, I have created an external file. So which is body.json. I'm opening that. Open with Notepad. So this is what a JSON data, guys. But at the time of reading this data, this is a dictionary. You need to convert that dictionary to JSON string. Automatic conversion, manual conversion. So what I will do, I'll try to copy this file which I created. I'll try to use it here. Inside day3, I'll paste that. Yes. So the data is there in this body.json. I need this data as a part of request body, right? So observe here, guys. During file handling, I told you a simple concept. If you want to work with file, let's suppose reading the data or writing the data, appending the data, updating the data. For any operation, what you need to do, you need to open the file first. How you can open? There are multiple ways, but we'll go for with statement, which is a context manager. Once you open the file, do the operation and close the file. Closing the file, sometimes developers may confuse or may not be able to keep that, or they wantedly they unwantedly, so without unknowingly, they will try to miss that closing operation. All right, they won't be able to specify sometimes. So in that case, again, there is a chance of not saving the data, and you'll be having multiple connections to the same file. So again, it is a burden. So as soon as you open the file, you need to close the file after performing operation. Then if there are any traces, they will be deleted, and if there is any cache also, that will be so avoided, and you can get the data saved properly. So to avoid all these things, because of that close, we'll close that automatically once we do the operation by using with statement, which is a context manager, right? I'll show you so how you can do that. Let me take the same code. Why I'm taking the same code? Because assertions, everything are common, but different ways of creating a request body, you need to understand. So external file, mostly will specify the data in the form of a dictionary in an external file. That will be very, very easy for us to work with, right? So that's where I'm creating that. So what I will do, I'll try to read the data. To read the data, first you need to open the file. So how you can open the file? By using this with statement. So with open, you have the file. Where the file is? Inside day3. So day3 is what a current directory, current working directory. To get that current working directory, you can put a dot. Dot means current working directory. In this working directory, you have body.json, right? Body.json, right? So just open this file. Keep that file inside quotes. And which mode you need to open? Read mode. I'm not writing any data. I'm not appending any data. Just open the file in the read mode, right? And you can give a simple name, alias name as file, right? You need to load this file, right? So how you can load this file? By using this JSON dot load, right? JSON dot load. If it is a text file, directly you can get the data by using methods. Since it is a JSON file, you need to load the file first, JSON file. For loading that, you need to use this JSON dot load, so which is a JSON library. Inside that JSON library, you have this load function. So you need to load that file, JSON file, just to pass this file as an input to this. So upon loading, it will return me entire data which is inside this body.json. So what type of data it will return? It will return me a dictionary data. Even though it is looking like a JSON, it will return me a dictionary data, right? I'll store that data inside a variable. which is a request body. Good, you have done this operation. Upon opening, you need to close the file. When you use this with a statement, which is a context manager, you need to no need to specify explicitly closing the file operation. This will be taken care of upon performing the operation. Right? So I have read the data request body. So I'm converting automatically to JSON string. How you can convert? By using JSON parameter. If you are converting manually, which is a dictionary request body, you are converting to JSON string by using this JSON dot dumps. Multiple ways of doing this. If you feel whatever is comfortable, you can go for this. So at the time of using this JSON also, you need to sometimes pass the headers. Let me show you one scenario. In day one, we have seen this HTTP methods demo, right? These headers along with content type, I have this API key. Is it right? So you need this API key also as a part of headers. So in that case, you need to pass that headers also when you are using this JSON. If you have only one header, which is content type, that's it. You don't need to pass, right? If you are having another headers also during using this JSON, you need to pass. If you are converting manually, content type is automatically set to this, right? If you are using JSON, content type is automatically set to application/JSON. You no need to specify that in headers. Other headers you can specify. But if you are using this JSON dot dumps for manual conversion, you need to specify that content type application/JSON in the request headers also, along with other headers. Right? By common sense, I can understand this, right? So I am doing automatic conversion here by using this JSON parameter. And what is the data which we have here? Scott and France. So I'll try to update that. Instead of Supriti, Scott, it is France instead of Japan. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have these courses here as a C and C++. I'll try to update that. Otherwise, your assertions will fail. C++. C++, that's it. So you are creating a resource in the server. Status code is 201. Once you created, doing assertions, capturing the student ID, passing that student ID to delete that automatically. From where I'm getting this request data, request body data from an external file, right? Using external file, you are trying to, right? Using external file, you are trying to create a request body, multiple ways, right? Let us execute this. So it is also passed. It is created a student with the name Scott, location France, and ID this is, and that ID I'm using to delete that student. Once it is deleted, it is giving me this response, and student deleted, right? You can see here, you can refresh this. So you won't have that entry here, and because you are going to delete that immediately. So these are multiple ways, right, of creating request body, right? Multiple ways. You can ask me, hey Madan, when I can use this dictionary, when I can use JSON library, when I can use Python custom class, data class, or an external file. You can go for dictionary when your data is simple and already available in key value pairs, right? You can go for this dictionary simply. If your data is very simple and if it is available in key value pairs, you can go for dictionary. If it is JSON library, right? So if your API strictly accepts only JSON string, you can use this JSON library to convert dictionary data to a JSON string. If you are using a Python custom class, on that custom class, along with the payload data, request to payload data, if you want to create few more logics, complex logics, if you want to implement inheritance, if you want to implement abstraction, right, lot of things, you can go for this approach. But if you are only bothering about storing the data as a part of a request body, you can go for this data classes, right? If you are going for external file, when your data is static and predefined, if that data is reusable across multiple requests, you can go for specifying that data in an external file. So you can use that data upon reading. So multiple ways based on your taste, based on your requirement, you can go and create that request body in multiple ways, right? So this is how about creating a request body. And you have another simple concept, which is parameters, right? Parameters are nothing but for filtering the data, right? So you can see here in day one, get users, get single user, get users. See, after question mark, you have this page equal to 2. So what this is a parameter, right? And you have query parameters also, right? So query parameters in the query, you can see here, these are query parameters. And users here is a path, right? Slash users is a path. You can pass this path parameter also, right? So let us see one simple example so that you can understand this very clearly. Query parameters and path parameters. I'll try to close all these things. I'll try to create one more module, test underscore parameters demo. Right? To work with APIs, you need to import first this request module. Right? I'll try to create a simple function, test underscore path parameters. Right? So two functions I'll create to make it very easy for you. One is path parameters, and the other is query parameters. Right? Query params. So this is what a short name. So I'll comment this. Right? So what I will do, I'll try to take some request, guys. Right? I'll show you this. So this is what a request which I'm just going to take. So this request will accept a path which is a country. Right? Let me specify the country here, India. Right? As I'll take this, it will give me data about India, guys. This is what a public API. You can see so what territory it is, British Indian Ocean Territory. So capital Diego Garcia. So some details which is somewhat related to this India. It is giving me. This is a publicly available API. To this API, not only India. So any data, any country you can pass. Let's suppose if it is Canada, right? It is giving me Canada related data, right? So countries which are paths here. So this path, I'll try to store it in some variable. I'll try to pass that. So path parameter, like request body, how you are creating by using the variables only, right? So at the time of sending the request, I'm using that variable values. Here also path parameters you can try to define in some variable and you can try to send, right? So observe here, I have this simple, I have already created. So request dot get, this is what an base URL, this is what an endpoint. This endpoint is using this path parameter, which is India. Store that path parameter or define that path parameter and use that path parameter. Right? When you send this request, it will give me response. So this is what an entire response, which you see in the browser, the same response, right? So this path parameter, if it is changing, yes, you can try to define it in some another variable. If it is quickly available, you can keep it in dictionary and multiple ways. You can try to define that and you can pass that here. I'll use Canada. It will return me Canada related data, right? You can see here. You can define that path parameter inside some variable and you can use that. Right? This is how you can define this, and we'll also see this query parameters. So let me take this request response dot in, right? So I'll use this slash users. You are trying to refer this directly, right? So after question mark, you are specifying this query parameters directly. Instead of this, what you can do, you can try to create a separate variable which is query parameters, and you can try to refer that, right, along with the things, right? So page equal to 2, right? Suppose if you want to get a specific user, you can specify the ID of that user also, right? Observe here how I'll be specifying this. I'll create a query parameter, query parameter first. Query params or parameter. So any name you can give. Guys, the same concept. Parameters or query parameters are key and value pairs. In Python, key and value pairs are nothing but dictionary. So you need to specify the key, and for that key you need to specify the value. That's it, right? So this is what a key value pair here. So that is what it is expecting, these query parameters. So I'll try to refer this in this request. So what I will do, I'll take this, I'll come here. I'll try to send a request. Here I'm using in the request URL only this query parameters. So instead of this, what I will do, I'll try to define another variable which is params. Params are nothing but query parameters. So along with this request, this query parameters also will be sent. But how? After question mark only they will be sent. If you specify these params, question mark will be appended to this request URL. Then after that it will send this automatically. So this is one way of sending this query parameters if that query parameters are dynamically changing. Here it is a 2. It may be changing to some another value, right? So this is one thing. And you also need this request headers, right? So application slash JSON, and you can try to use this. I'll use this headers, guys. Parameters demo. I'll use this headers. These headers are also required for some authentication and content type. So authentication, you need this token authentication. So bearer token you need to generate, and bearer token you need to send as a part of headers, right? So we have seen this clearly. So that's what I'm using, and I'll try to send the request. I can do some assertions, right? So print of response dot status code I'll print, right? You can do assertion with the help of the status code, and you can print entire JSON response also, right? Why I am making you understand this? There is another way of sending this path parameter. This is what a path parameter, and this is what a query parameter by using params variable. Let us execute this. Yes. So it is trying to send the request authenticated. It is getting me the data in the page 2. Right? So the same you can see it in the Postman also once you create this request. So this is how you need to understand multiple ways of creating a request body and defining this path parameters.